Yeah, let me set up my timer, but I gotta get out of Facebook first. Shame. 6 minutes on the clock. Ladies and gentlemen, my first question is, why would he want to go to a wedding? It's called free beer, but let me get into a little extension first. Let me do a refutation, then I'm going to talk about, tell you about what you miss when you delete your Facebook and how it's a bad thing. So, a little refutation going from the beginning, right? They talked about privacy, and then the last speaker started yelling when he was talking about viruses and spam. Now, viruses are not legal on Facebook and actually go against the privacy policy of Facebook, right? When you click a malicious code, that's against Facebook code, that's illegal, right? According to Facebook code. Now, what he's talking about, let's get back to the issue, is privacy in these things that you give away, right? Like, so there's a certain couple of things that Facebook requires when you sign up, right? Age, date of birth, and email, right? So these are the things that we're talking about that are being sold off, right? So let's talk about that. Now, these other things that they're talking about with the apps are like more information, right? That you can add into it, and they can get like the other things, like maybe how often you're using the internet, or maybe if you're single or not, or those other kind of demographical information. So there's two separate things. The yelling was absolutely just like distracting because that wasn't what we're talking about. So the malicious thing, so the selling of information, we are okay with. We think that's acceptable. And they said that Google doesn't do it. That's absolutely a joke, because when I go onto Gmail, all I get on my thing is political advertisements, because that's mainly what I write in my emails. So if they're against that sort of thing, like consumer information being sold, then maybe they should pass a law to ban consumer information from being sold. But all they're doing here is just trying to convince you that it's such an outrageous thing that it should be banned. But they themselves are obviously using Facebook, and you know how you can really know whether or not people like Facebook? Is if they use it. And millions of people are using Facebook. Millions of people are using Gmail. And Gmail is the same thing when they sell the information to targeted advertisement. And we think targeted advertisement is actually a good thing, because as we talked earlier about political campaigns, if you're running for state representative here in Manoa Valley, you can target the students at UH Manoa because you know that they live in Manoa. We think that's one of the benefits of this new society, that you can target people if they live in the society and they want that information. That's kind of cool. I've clicked ads before for people running for Congress in this district because I'm like, hey, I want to learn about that person. So that's pretty cool. So, you know, and this whole like idea about like disruption of social interaction, as I said, I would want to go to the wedding because of the beer. I'd also want to go to the rock concert because that's kind of like the goal, right? You go to a rock concert to enjoy it and hang out with your friends. They have no evidence over here of either like the viruses or the privacy settings being sold. Have they told you like what happens when this happens? Because it happens in the real world all the time. Have you ever got like a credit card, you know, in the mail, right? How did they get that information that you are of 18 and you can get a credit card? Somebody stole your information! Oh! So, you know, not to be dramatic like our friends over here, but someone stole your information and they sent you an advertisement for a credit card, right? So if they really have a problem with that, they should be banning the selling of information, because it's happening with credit cards. That's why you get a credit card when you turn 18, because somebody sold out you. So they do nothing to solve that problem over here. So back to Facebook, we think this disruption of social, you know, interaction. For one, there's not any evidence of this, right? I mean, have they cited any studies of like these people that are hanging out in their dorm rooms at UH and they're like killing themselves because all they're doing is like Facebook requesting friends and everyone's, you know, unfriending them? I'll take a question.
Yeah, actually, there's very concrete evidence about internet addiction.
Okay, concrete evidence. Okay, internet addiction. So they're not like providing any like public educational programs about it. The rest of us are benefiting from Facebook. The majority of us have Facebook, but instead of like targeting like the 3% or whatever that has an internet addiction to probably not just Facebook. I would imagine like World of Warcraft. That's kind of addicting, right, to the minority few. Right? They're not like targeting the people on Twitter who all they do is just, you know, on Twitter every day, right? Because that, you know, they're not solving for that. So they're trying to convince you through this like fairy tale that you're being exploited and like, you know, murdered by these big corporations through selling your advertisement, which we're okay with in Facebook and we're okay with in Gmail. So we would really love to actually like hear some development of this said harm, which isn't there. And they talked about Google Buzz, which I also love, because Google Buzz like actually just like let everyone know who's on your friend's email list. Like the government came in and said you can't like tell other people publicly who you've emailed and who you're friends with. And so like there's a government interaction where they're coming in and saying you could do that, which maybe we should talk about. But they're not doing that. They're just trying to tell you that you should do it for a perceived harm, which apparently no one has an issue with. And I'll take you in a second. But even if you have an issue with it, Facebook has changed their privacy settings before, right? I don't know if you heard about it like a year ago. They were going to change the privacy settings for everyone. And guess what? People had an outroar. They're like, no, you can't. You cannot do that. They were, you know, threatening to quit. everyone was bitching on Twitter, everyone was complaining on Twitter. And then what happened? And then they moved the privacy settings back to what they were before. So we have seen that people together as a society have demanded things change. And we think that that's what we should do. We should start, if you believe this, we should start either pass a law, where the Congress does this, or we should have a Facebook group movement where we say we demand you not sell our advertisements, or you just don't click on those stupid Farm Bill game ads. Right? Don't play Farm Bill and then don't let them sell it. But everyone else that's reasonable and lives in the kind of the real world where we kind of know like reasonable things to do, like don't spend 24 hours online, in a row, or don't do that kind of thing. We think that that's a good thing. So when you quit, with my last 30 seconds, when you quit Facebook, you miss out on a lot of things. So that's what our first partner talked about. You miss out on social medias, right? You miss out on, COM 6000 debate, tournament information, which this was clearly advertised on Facebook group. And we think that we've clearly made the case that most people benefit from Facebook. You don't benefit when you lose, and this side doesn't have any points. So thank you.